Good evening, geographers, and welcome to your YouTube revision. How is everybody? How is everybody in the chat? How is everybody at home? How's your Year 11 holiday, half-term break? How's it all gone? Yeah, let us know who's here, who's joining us tonight. We are becoming one of the fastest growing geography YouTube channels on the internet. Really are. We've now got 271 subs or 271 subs, and one of our videos has got over 1,400 views. Wow, I never thought it'd go get that many views. So yeah, really happy that you guys tune in, get involved, do the revision, and yeah, engage with the channel. Thank you so much, because without you guys, obviously it wouldn't happen. So yeah, thank you for everything that you've done for the channel so far. Yeah, check out the other videos in the series. We've got a full paper 2 live revision series. We've got 2 videos on urban issues and challenges. Question 1, we've got 2 videos on economic world, one on Nigeria and one on the UK economy. That's the one that's got all the views. We did last week's video on question 3, UK resources, and today is question 5, water management and water issues, or water issues and water management. So yeah, you're in the right place. Remember, this is an optional unit, so water is an optional specialism. Your school may have specialized in a different topic, and I would strongly recommend you to stick with that topic and revise that topic. So the options are question 4, food issues and management, question 5, which is my school, water issues and management, and then question 6 is energy issues and management. So yeah, but yeah, check out all the videos on the channel to get you ready for the 6th of June, Friday afternoon. Yes, Friday afternoon, 6th of June is when Human Geography Paper 2 is happening. We are going to do a live stream on Thursday night of this week, a little Q&A. You can ask any last minute questions or ask me to run through anything that you want help with. Yeah, get you in that right mindset for the exam, obviously for the Friday. And we're also going to do a paper 3 one as well. We'll do a paper 3 live stream next Monday, ready for paper 3 as well, which is fantastic. Yeah, so who's in the chat? Let's have a little look. Hopefully revision is going really well. It's love 14. Yes, we're going for it. We're going for it. The channel's growing. Hopefully we get record numbers tonight. Mod, thanks for joining us, Mod. I really appreciate you dropping in to join the live stream tonight. Check out the paper 3 links that I've just put on for EdXL A-level geography. I know obviously you're doing A-level geography as well. So check those out. Hope your paper 3 preparations are going really well. Expect a tough paper. I always say that to my geographers: expect a tough paper, plan for a tough paper, work for a tough paper, and then if you get in there and it's easy, well, there you go. That's the bonus. QI, I love joining you joining our channel. You've got always got facts, fun facts. So let me just have a look. Hi, sir. Fun fact: the UK is ranked overall 4th for water and sanitation, but it is decreasing possibly to 56th out of 180 countries. Why is that? Why are we projected to decrease? That's a good fact, though. We are 4th most effective for water management and providing water supplies. Interesting. Bruno, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. Zara, thank you so much for dropping by and doing some revision. Lovely to see you in the chat. James as well, thank you for dropping in. Great to see you. Nice little, what's that? Avatar. Nice avatar. Harry, good to see you in the chat as well. Really appreciate you dropping by. I know that revision is going well. We are good. I missed the last live. I didn't know it was on. Apologies. Yeah, we're doing a few more lives. So we've got Thursday night live, Q&A. We've got next Monday, which is kind of paper 3, Morecambe Bay, tidal energy. And I think that's it for the 2025 series. That will be it. We'll be back next year when some of you are probably doing A-level geography. Hermes, thanks for dropping in as well. Appreciate that. I've joined newly. Loved your videos. Oh, Zara, you are more than welcome to join anytime. Thank you for watching the series. And yeah, this is all based on predicted content. So these are things I've looked at the kind of all the themes and the patterns, and these are things that are more likely to appear as well in 2025. We did really well on paper 1, by the way, really well on those. So hopefully we can do okay here. Do you need to know a case study for energy and water and food? Yeah, so You need to know large-scale food, water, energy management, and small-scale food, water, and energy management, or sustainable food, water, and energy management. So yeah, 2 case studies coming today. We're going to look at China, and we're going to look at sand dams in Kenya. Yeah, for QI, yes, you do. You need at least 2 case studies. Large-scale management, small-scale sustainable management. I have done. I'll be revising tomorrow. Okay, yeah, good. You got your plan. It's Rusty from Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends. Yeah, I didn't know which one it was. I knew it wasn't Thomas or Henry. I thought you'd have James, though, the red one. Surely you'd have James as your avatar. Right, if you've not joined us before, let's just tell you what you need, guys. You know, most of you regulars here know what you need to get involved in your revision. So, as you know, I revise along with you because I love doing this sort of stuff. Yeah. So what do you need, guys? You need some coloured pencils, obviously, as a geographer. You need you need a pen. I always have a highlighter as well for any keywords. All the AQA keywords I always highlight in green, and I've got a ruler as well. And obviously, cup of tea, because it's cup of tea and case studies. So absolutely, you need. Absolutely, you need a cup of tea as well. So yeah. I think I'll go and revise energy, but I'll join you on Thursday. Absolutely, Zara. Yeah, if your school study energy, go and revise the energy topic and drop in on Thursday. You can ask any questions that you want. Yeah, and Monday for paper 3 will be back as well. But lovely to see you, Zara. And thanks for the love on the previous videos. Honestly, really appreciate it. Right, let's get straight on this then and get into today's revision. So as we know, we always break the paper up usually into 3 sections. Today is no different. So let's zoom you in, going for the middle section here, and paper 2. Let's get a pen that actually works from the start. That always works. Paper 2, and it's human geography, everyone's favorite. In fact, mine is physical geography, to be honest. But yeah, I do love human geography. It's question 5, which is the optional section. And we look at water management, water issues and management, basically. And you need this knowledge for the 6th of June, which is this Friday. Can you believe it's come round that quick? We're now in June. So there we have it. Excellent. So the 6th of June. Right. Remember, all this includes predicted content. It includes all the key terms for this topic area as well from AQA. So it should really set you off on a good footing for this section of the exam. So this section is about water issues and water management. And we're going to start with a couple of specialist terms. Let's get straight in with some specialist terms. So this is the ABC terms, keywords. Got to make my revision look good. If you're watching as a podcast, listening whilst you're down the gym, yeah, let us know where you do your revision. Obviously, the best revision is to be doing it live or follow along with me, basically, yeah. Specialist water terms. So there's some key terms that we need to get our head around. The first one, which is a happy phrase, as it were, if countries are in water surplus. What does it mean? Hit us up in the chat, guys. What does water surplus mean? Do you know what that term water surplus means? AQA say that you should know what it is. Oh, they're coming in. They're coming in. Let's have a look. Where supply is greater than demand. Yes, look, exactly how I've written it there. I'm sure you know from your maths that means greater than. Where water supply is greater than the demand. So there's more than you need. There's more than is needed. So there's plenty of water in countries that are in water surplus. An example could be the UK. Generally, most of the time, we are in water surplus. Okay, let's go for the next one then. More than enough, absolutely. Water supply exceeds demand, superb. Having more than you need, yeah. So absolutely brilliant. Well done, guys. So the next one you need to know is water deficit. Water deficit. What is a water deficit? I reckon you could perhaps use this as well to help you. What is a water deficit? If a country is in water deficit, what does that mean? And if you can name a country that you think has water deficit, even better. Where supply is less than demand. Yeah, excellent. Well done. Any others? Any others? So I'm going to do where the demand is greater than the supply you've got. And I'm going to do it as a red arrow because obviously that's a negative thing. So what have we got here? Demand is greater than supply. Yes, the Sahel. Let's put that in. I'm going to use the Sahel region. This is sub-Saharan Africa. Remember, geographers, you've got to get your places in. If you're trying to get your top grades, try and name a place. So when you talk about something, think, where is that happening in the world? I've written a sentence about water deficit. Where's that happening? Okay. Can I give an example? Naming places. Okay, water deficit is when you've got a greater demand than supply. Okay, well done. Not enough water. You're in deficit. Means you're in debt basically in this term. Okay, last sort of our keywords for now is going to be water insecurity. This is slightly different to deficit. It's also a problematic. That's why I'm doing it in yellow. What do I mean by water security? Or insecurity, sorry. Water insecurity. What is that? If a country has water insecurity, what do you think that might mean? Okay, according to AQA, let's have a look. Oh, yeah, we've got one here. Lack of reliable and safe drinking water. Yeah. So a country might have the supply, it might have enough rainfall, but it hasn't got the water going perhaps to the houses as a pipe network, might not have the water infrastructure. The cost of water might be high in that particular country. So there is water, but it's just not available to the people. Slightly different. Okay. So the actual definition is not enough water to meet the needs of population. And this can lead to things like water conflict. Yeah, where people disagree over water. It happens along the River Nile in particular. So in fact, let's put that there, a little example. E.g., example of water insecurity is the River Nile, where countries like Egypt conflict with Ethiopia. So Ethiopia is further south along the Nile. Obviously, the Nile flows north. Ethiopia is before Egypt. Ethiopia is extracting water, building dams, and Egypt is not happy about the amount of water being discharged in its section of the river. It's not got enough. It's stressed. It's insecure. So there's conflict between Ethiopia and Egypt. So that would be a good example of water conflict. Oh, God, we're going to smash this exam, aren't we, with all these examples? Okay, so the first thing I think they might ask you in 2025 is what factors that affect, this is a very common question about water, factors that affect water availability. Yeah. So what factors would affect if a country has access to water and the people have access to water or hasn't got access? So I'm going to highlight that. Factors that affect water availability in a country. These can be divided into physical factors. There's natural reasons why some people in some countries struggle to access safe, clean drinking water. That's what we're talking about all the time here. Safe, clean drinking water. And we have human factors. So, and I think already in the chat it's going wild. There's one comment. But what factors affect water availability that you know about? So I'm just going to draw a table here. Move you down. Factors that affect water availability. If it comes up, the maximum it can be is 6 marks. So again, if you're going for high grades, 2 of these in detail is enough. Discussing 2 in detail is sufficient. What we'll also do is we'll think about which factor we think is the most significant. So if you're going for higher grades, you might not just know the factors, but you start to think about, okay, that factor is more significant in water insecurity than this factor. This is the underpinning main reason why places have water insecurity. So we'll start to evaluate them, but what have we got? So factors that affect water insecurity. So what have we got here? Physical factors such as precipitation. Yes, well done. Climate is the main one. Hey, Rosa, thanks for joining us. Hopefully you can catch up. That's what we've done so far. If you want to photograph it on your phone, and then you can just catch up as well. There we go. We're just predicting the questions for the water section. We think there might be maybe a 6 marker on factors that affect water availability. Physical and human factors. So we've got here, yeah, what we've got, over abstraction. Well done. That is such a key word for this topic, over abstraction. War, climate, and probably over abstraction, yeah, conflict. Absolutely. War is not on the exam board kind of list, but it definitely is a correct answer, QI. It's really disrupted water supplies in places like Gaza. That would be a really good example. So the Israel-Gaza conflict, that's created food insecurity and water insecurity. So that would be a really good example there. Industrial pollution, yes, absolutely. Human factor, climate, desertification. Well done. That is also on our little list, I think. Yeah, it is on. It's later on our list. Population growth, yeah, and costs. Well done. Wow, you pretty much nailed them all. So we go with the first one then. Climate is probably the most common answer. So why do some places have water and others don't? It's probably to do with precipitation levels. So let's start with high precipitation areas. We're not using rainfall because we're going to use high level words. High level precipitation. So areas with high precipitation tend to be water secure. Yeah. So where it rains a lot, as long as that water is stored and captured, it will be a water secure country. So apparently I did a bit of research into this, guys, because I'm always researching for you lot. So water secure country with a lot of rainfall is, let's go with Norway. Norway does not have to worry about its water supplies. It gets plenty of rain, which I'd love to go and visit Norway, but I'm not a big fan of rain, precipitation. But yeah. Oh, I haven't got a dark blue. That's dark blue, guys, by the way. That's our Norwegian flag. Norway receives one of the highest amounts of average annual rainfall, with around about 2,000 millimeters per year. Okay, so a place that's water secure because of high levels of precipitation is Norway, 2,000 millimeters per year. So they're water secure, or they are, you could say, they are water in water surplus. So that's a water surplus country. It's also water secure. Just need a dark blue. There we go. As well. There we go. Right, let's have a look at the counter argument then. Let's have a look at an area that's really arid. Arid is another word for dry, therefore doesn't have water. So places with an arid climate. Got to be careful when you say desert. But arid climates means dry, so you can say desert, but probably arid's better. So in areas where there's low precipitation, there's a lot on today, so I'm write quite small. So in areas where there's low precipitation, so again, I did a little bit of research. I've already mentioned this country already, but Egypt in Northeast Africa, Egypt, popular with tourism and coral reefs and the pyramids, has on average 20 millimeters per year. 20. That's 2 centimeters a year on average across the country. So this is an example of water insecurity. Yeah. Or you might say water scarce or water. Let's go for as many water stress. Yeah. Or water insecure. Water insecurity, water stress, they all mean the same kind of thing. But it's just to say that areas where there's a lack of water. So Egypt. Okay, so that's our first bit, climate. Let's go to our next bit. Our next physical factor is geology, which is, I think if you're going for higher grades, this is probably the more impressive answer. Because that's what you're trying to do, isn't it? You're trying to impress the examiner. So geology. Oops, let's just leave it there. So geology. So in some areas we have permeable rocks, which basically store and percolate, which means to pass through, store and percolate water. Yeah. These are usually, e.g., sedimentary rocks, because they are sediment. Sedimentary rocks is a good example of permeable rocks, such as things like limestone and sandstone. So if the surrounding area is made of limestone or sandstone, then it's going to be able to store water within the rocks. So let's draw a little picture of that. Yeah. I'm sure you've all had a nice little drink of mineral water. In fact, I've got some here actually. So permeable rocks allow water to be stored within them. Like my picture there, that's a permeable rock. Yeah. Allow water to be stored within them and to pass through or to flow through, what we call percolate through the rocks. So that's what we've got there. We've got water passing through or water being stored. So anybody who's been drinking mineral water like this has come through permeable rocks. It's been filtered through permeable rocks. Doesn't say where. No. But anyway, that's what it's done. So we're going to add another key word here, guys. Groundwater, which is rocks, sorry, water within the rocks. Groundwater is stored in aquifers. Aquifer is an underground store of water. It's where most countries, or a lot of countries, get their drinking water from. It's a really important store of underground water. So aquifers is a key term. Not many geographers will remember it, but they are really important places. Yeah. So if your geology is permeable, it allows water to store in aquifers. Aquifers provide 60% of India's drinking water. So countries like India, which has now the largest population in the world with 1.4 billion people, 60% of their water is coming from aquifers, which is basically rocks underground, storing the water, filtering the water through the mineralization of the rocks, cleaning it, and then it makes it fantastic for drinking. So there we go. The opposite to that is impermeable rocks. If the area is impermeable, like maybe slate, the water just runs into rivers, runs into the sea, and you lose it. Yeah, you lose that valuable store of drinking water. So you want permeable rocks in your area. Right, let's have a look at some human factors then. Let's go over here. Human factors. Sorry, have I moved a bit too quick? Let's just put that there for a second. There we go. Take a photo of your phone if you need to. And let's go up over here. So the best one to talk about in terms of human factors is over abstraction. This is a key term. I reckon you'll definitely be able to use it this year. You can use it pretty much every year in the water topic. It's a fantastic term to talk about. It's quite high level. Over abstraction is when people use water quicker than it can naturally be replenished. That's the phrase, naturally be replenished through precipitation. So basically, you are using up the water quicker than the ponds can fill up, the reservoirs can fill up, the lakes and the rivers can be replenished, the groundwater can be replenished. People are using it. The demand is high. So put them high demand. Yeah, that's what it basically means. So imagine you've got a pond or a well in your garden. If loads of people, let's say 300 people turn up and take all the water out of it, there's nothing left and it needs to rain to fill up again. So that's called over abstraction. You're taking more than you need it. So let's get an example in. An example would be Mexico City, capital of Mexico. And in Mexico City, it's been nicknamed the sinking city. The sinking city. And the reason why that is because they've taken that much groundwater out. They've abstracted that much groundwater that the buildings and parts of the city are actually sinking. And these are the buildings here. Yeah, a little sketch. So they've over abstracted groundwater for industry and domestic housing use. And now, look at my little picture there. Yeah, the ground is sinking because they've abstracted the ground. The water was holding up the ground. Obviously, they've taken the water out. So it's now known as the sinking city. Over 20 million people live in Mexico City. High population. There's a lot of people need water. They're over abstracting their groundwater supplies. Another example of over abstraction is Coca-Cola in India. Coca-Cola uses 2 liters of water to make 1 liter of Coca-Cola. That's my Coca-Cola logo. So Coca-Cola, which is a TNC, a transnational corporation, depleting groundwater in India. So they set up their factories to make the drink. They go and set up the factories to make the drink, and they're over abstracting groundwater, which is affecting rural villages around the Coca-Cola factories, and they're depleting the water, so farmers can't use it. There's lack of water for farming and domestic use. So yeah, crazy. Pollution is a big factor why some countries don't have safe, clean, available water. People pollute water supplies. Pollution, such as plastic waste in particular, is a big problem. Plastic waste and chemical runoff from factories. Chemical runoff. Yep, is a major cause of pollution. Check out our previous video. We talked about eutrophication, which is pollutants from farms washing into the river. Things like pesticides, fertilizers that get washed by rain off the crops and then into the local river. So that is all relevant here. So check out that video. That's our previous video on the channel. So yeah, water pollution, waste, rubbish, chemicals from farming. Example will be the Citarum River. Citarum River in Indonesia. It's the most polluted river in the world because of waste being dumped in there from the slums. It ends up falling into the river and mainly plastic pollution and things like that. Okay, let's go for a few more. Poor infrastructure. They haven't got the infrastructure in the country. Poor infrastructure. Remember, this is a 6 marker potentially, so we've got to make sure we cover all bases. So poor infrastructure. Let's just put a leaking pipe here, because this could be leaking pipes that don't get fixed in the country. India is particularly bad at that. Leaking pipes, they just don't fix them. So poor infrastructure means limited water pipes, so that not everywhere has water pipes. Limited water pipes, leaks in the pipes, and they don't have reservoirs, which are man-made lakes that store drinking water. So there's a lack of reservoirs in the country, potentially. Here's a fun fact. LICs, poor countries, lose 70% of treated water. So they treat it, basically clean it, and they lose it by water leaks. Just not affording to maintain the water network. So it's leaking out of the system, which is not good, obviously. Right, we'll go for one more, which is water poverty. So someone mentioned it in the chat. Another reason why some people don't have water is they can't afford it. So we're going to put here water poverty. It is a very expensive resource in some countries, especially in the Middle East. It's very expensive to buy water in the Middle East. But yeah, water poverty. So let's just box that off then at the bottom. So if it comes up now, hopefully you feel that you've got enough answers there to get you 6 out of 6. But if we just zoom out for a second, which one do you think is the main cause? Hit us up in the chat, guys. Is water insecurity mainly caused by physical or human factors? Which factor is most significant in influencing whether countries have or haven't got water? Let us know what you think. I'll try and catch up with the chat. Corrupt governments, yeah, not investing in water infrastructure. Well done. Sir, is this paper 2 always structured like this? Question 133. Question 5. Is it 13? I thought it was 15 marks, I think. I thought it was 15 marks for this section. Hi, sir. Will you have a live revision also for paper 3? I will, Amina. Thank you for joining in. I love your avatar. Very cheery. Yes, I will have one next Monday on paper 3. So drop in for that if you can. It'd be lovely to see you. Yeah, there will be. Thank you, Mod. Human over abstraction. Human over. Oh, interesting. Oh, it doesn't matter what you decide, guys, but make sure you've got an opinion, especially if you're going for grade 7 and above. Apply place, apply a judgment. Our judgment is we think that human factors are the fundamental factors that affect water security, whether countries have and people have water in that country. Probably true. Probably true. Because even if the area is dry, think about Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar. They're dry, arid climates, but they have water because they create infrastructure to bring water to areas where it's needed. They largely rely on groundwater, and it works. Okay, let's go on to this next bit then. Just down this corner here, we're going to do ways to conserve water. Now, again, this is potentially could come up in 2025, ways to conserve water. So hit us up in the chat, guys. How can you conserve and save water either in the home or out? Anyway, any strategies do you know to conserve water? So we're going to go for it here. Ways to conserve / sustainably manage water. So again, this could be 4 marker, it could be a 6 marker. but you've got to know your ways of managing water sustainably or conserving water. So what have we got, guys? Because we're going to have a quick look. What can farmers do? What can you do in your home? What can industry do to conserve water? So think about domestic. What can you do in your home to save water? Industry. What can farms and factories do to save water? They're the main uses of water. Remember, agriculture uses 70% of all water on Earth is used by agriculture, growing food. So how do we grow food without using so much water? So we're going to start with, in fact, I might split this into, yeah, no, I won't split it. I'll just keep it as it is. Right, what have I got? Let's have a look. Ways to conserve water. We've got here, yes, grey water. Absolutely. Well done, James. You've got to mention grey water recycling. We'll talk about that. Yeah, have a shower. Have showers instead of a bath. That's on the MARC scheme. Or have shorter showers, 5-minute shower. Yes, grey water, dual flush toilets, tankers. Yes, well done. I'm going to mention that one as well. Johads and tankers, that's what they call them in India. Don't leave the taps on whilst brushing your teeth. That's a good one. Yeah, don't leave taps on whilst brushing your teeth. Yeah, don't use a watering can and not a hose pipe is one. Yeah, so if you're watering your garden, water it with a watering can, not a hose pipe, because hose pipes use a lot of water. Not wasting water, yeah. Grey water recycling, Amina, well done. Grey water recycling is going to be a real buzz one if you talk about that. So we'll mention that in a minute. I'll tell you what it is. Connect water, cleaning water, yeah. Flushing toilets, yeah. Grey water recycling. Drip irrigation, Amina, well done. Drip irrigation, superb. Remove chemicals from the water. Grey water, drip irrigation. Yes, right. Let's go for these then. So let's have a look at how we can save water in the domestic. So let's think about domestic/home. Ways to save water in the home or domestic use. So number one, install a water meter. I'm not a great fan, but if people are charged for every drop they use, that will make them conserve water. Most people in the chat live in a home with a water meter. When you're paying for every drop, you don't waste it. You make sure that you use it sensibly. You conserve it. Okay, that's number one. Number two, water efficient appliances. Yeah, dishwashers, washing machines. Make sure you've got one that doesn't use as much water. There's even a setting on your washing machine. I'm sure you know about it because you're always washing your clothes. If you turn it to there, it's kind of water conserving. It uses less water but still cleans your clothes. We've got to have our dual flush toilets. Dual flush toilets. Great strategy. Oops. Yeah, dual flush toilets, which is, I believe, the small one is 3.5 litres of water, and the larger button is 7 litres in a flush. Don't know if you knew that, guys. There you go. Fun facts. How much water falls down a toilet? 7 litres if you press the big button, and obviously if you press both, that must be about 10 litres of water. So yeah, save water with dual flush toilets. And what else can we say? Watering can. Use a watering can. A watering can. Not hose pipe, because we don't want to use hose pipes. They use a lot of water. They waste a lot of water. Very wasteful. There you go. Hose pipes. Right. Let's have a look at some others then. You may have seen this one. This one's definitely a buzz term. It is rainwater harvesting, where you collect rainwater from the roof of your house into a container, plastic container, maybe in the garden. A bit of a weird name, but they're called a rainwater butt, B-U-T-T, rainwater butt, and it stores the water. So this is called rainwater harvesting. It's a really good, sustainable way. It's low cost, appropriate technology. Even poor countries, LIC countries, can use rainwater harvesting. Often on the school or the medical centre in a poorer area, in a rural area, they'll have rainwater harvesting. In India, they do a lot of rainwater harvesting, and they're called johads and tankers. Tankers is the tank that stores the water. So johads and tankers are ways in which you can store water and use it later to water the crops, usually, or for drinking water. There's a little tap on the side there, and then the local population come along with a bucket and collect water from there, instead of just letting it soak away into the soil or into nearby rivers. So the big one, which I'm glad Amina and James has mentioned, is grey water. Grey water, fantastic. You should mention grey water. This is going to be a big thing in the future, guys, even in the UK. It has to happen worldwide. Grey water recycling. And it is exactly what it is. Recycling water. So you would use domestic water. You'd then put it through a filter to remove like the particulates. So say if it's your washing up water, so it might be washing up water, and then you filter it, take all the little food chunks out and all that sort of stuff that's in your washing up water, and then you use it to flush toilets. Yeah, that fairy liquid water would be perfect for flushing toilets. We don't need perfect drinking water to flush a toilet, do we? Yeah, and that's what we use at the moment. So washing up water to flush toilets, okay? Example is, e.g., a place called Masdar City. There's a place called Masdar City in the UAE where every house has grey water recycling. Yeah. So a place called Masdar City in the UAE, they use grey water recycling. There's lots of other things you can do, which I haven't mentioned. Where do we put that, though? Maybe I can put drip irrigation. I feel like I need to put drip irrigation on here because that's a good one as well. That's my farm. And there's a drop. And I'm going to just try and squeeze it in here. Drip. Oh, I can't really fit it in here. Drip irrigation. Where you drop one drop of water onto the root of the plant rather than spraying. Because you've got spray irrigation where farmers just spray it mindlessly everywhere. Some of it gets blown away in the wind. Some of it just gets washed off the land. Whereas with drip irrigation, you've got this little hose pipe that goes right next to the root of the plant. And it drips the water directly on the root. It's very, very efficient. Very efficient. And it conserves water, which is fantastic. So drip irrigation is often used in the Mediterranean. That's where I'd use it. Spain, Greece, places like that, Italy. They use a lot of drip irrigation. Right, let's zoom out. That's our first third done. Lots of stuff there. Bearing in mind, again, this is like 10 lessons worth of knowledge, and we try and squeeze it onto one piece of paper. So we try and get all our key revision onto one section of paper. Right, number one prediction for 2025. I think they're going to ask you what the impacts are of water insecurity on a place. What are the impacts on people's lives in a place where there's a lack of water? So let's build up our case study here. Oh God, sorry guys, I'm a bit nasally because I've got hay fever. Hay fever's kicked in. What's happened to that there? It's gone a bit blue on the lens. Oh, that's it. There we go. Don't know what happened there, guys. Let's just focus in. There we go. It's gone a bit blurred, hasn't it? Right, case study. There we go. Case study. So the case study that we look at for impacts of water insecurity. The question will say impacts of water insecurity. So that's why I've put that in the title. Impacts of water insecurity, as what I was saying in the question. And we're going to talk about the Sahel region. Okay. The Sahel region, let's draw a quick map of Africa. Pretty much Africa, isn't it there? There's the Sahara Desert that dominates the landscape in North Africa. So we've got our Sahara Desert. There we go. And then underneath, what you call maybe sub-Saharan Africa, here is the Sahel region. Yeah, that's the Sahel, which is the poorest region on Earth. Okay, sub-Saharan Africa, it's the poorest region on Earth. So let's get some facts in here about the Sahel region then. So it's called the Sahel region. In sub-Saharan Africa. That means it's just south of the Sahara Desert. Sub-Saharan Africa. In the continent of Africa. This area is made up of 10 countries in the Sahel. So there's 10 countries in total in the Sahel region. The one that we might mention a lot is Sudan. So Sudan is in the Sahel region. It's one of 10 countries that make up the Sahel region. And it has water insecurity. It has a lack of water for its people. South Sudan or Sudan. This region has less than 100 millimeters of precipitation per year. So it's one of the driest areas on Earth per year. So it does suffer significantly from drought. Less than 100 millimeters on average per year. Right, let's have a little look at the causes then. Why this area has causes of water insecurity. Why this area suffers from a lack of water before we look at the impacts. So the causes are mainly climate / climate change. Obviously, as the Earth warms up, the climate gets warmer. This area has very, very low rainfall, as we know, less than 100 millimeters. So it's a region with low rainfall and high temperatures. So this region averages 30 degrees Celsius. Okay, so it's got high temperature and it has low rainfall. And with climate change, this region is going to get significantly drier and significantly hotter. So this is a major, major problem. Okay, so this is an area that has physical. So it has physical water scarcity. So the reason why this area doesn't have water mainly is because of physical reasons, physical water scarcity. It's hot, it's dry, the climate is against the people. So it has physical water scarcity. Temperatures are high and water is a problem. So let's have a look at the impacts then. This is the bit that you're going to probably most likely need. This is the impacts of water scarcity in the region. So the first one we're going to look at is desertification. So this area suffers desertification, which did come up in paper 1, one of our predictions. Desertification is the spreading of deserts through the drying out or the degradation of land. So in this region, 65% of land is degraded through overgrazing, overcultivation, things like that. Drying out, let's put here, drying out underground aquifers. So because there's a lack of rainfall, the land is dry, the aquifers are not being recharged. Yeah, with rainwater. So the first thing is desertification. Oops. In fact, I've missed that off. I haven't had desertification. Here we go. Desertification. Yeah. That's one of the causes of and one of the impacts of water scarcity. So desertification. There we go. Right, let's move that. More crop per drop. Well done, Amina. Yes. Well remembered, that is. I'm well impressed. Yeah, that's for drip irrigation. More crop per drop. Hey, you'll definitely be able to use that, I reckon, in 2025. Because see, you've done a lot of your revision. Right, let's have a look at some impacts then. If you haven't got water, you're probably going to struggle to irrigate your crops, and famine/food insecurity. A lack of food. If you've got a lack of water, chances are you're going to have food insecurity. So famine and food insecurity mean because you've got a lack of water for irrigation. For irrigation of the crops. So you've got a lack of water for irrigation, which then leads to low crop yields, which is basically how much crop you can grow. Because you can't water them, you can't grow enough crops, which is a problem. So this area, we've got 52 million people in the Sahel region suffer malnutrition, lack of food, mainly because they can't grow it because there's a lack of water. Malnutrition is a key word for the resources topic. So, yeah, shocking fact, 52 million people suffer malnutrition because they can't irrigate their crops. Okay, this leads on to our next problem. If there is water available, chances are it could be contaminated, or people will have to use water that's less desirable. So, key term here, water-borne diseases. Right, my laptop is running out of battery, so I'm just going to have to switch my mics around, guys. Just give me 1 second. We're going to use the mic on the webcam because I don't want the stream to drop out. So we'll just plug that one in there. Oops. Hello, hello. Start webcam. Let's have a look what we're on here. Settings. So audio is on. So, right, guys. So you can hear me. That's good. Let's. Hello, hello, hello. Are we back? Are we back? Are we back? Let me know in the chat, guys, if you can hear me and if we've got sound and visuals. Let me. Sorry about that. That is crazy, crazy, crazy. Let me know if you can hear me or you've got visuals and things. I'm just trying to get everything back up and running. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, my laptop battery died, guys. That's such an amateur, isn't it? Just as we were getting a big channel, guys? And, well, not that it was a big channel, but just as we were growing our channel. Sounds and visuals, yes. Excellent. That was a close call. Yeah, my laptop battery went, basically. So I've had to plug it in, and we're back. Yes. He's probably gone for a cup of tea. Half-time tea. Yes, we're back. Yes, we can hear you. Awesome, guys. Lots of love in the chat. Thank you for all those comments. Right, have I got back my video camera that's presenting? Share screen. Let's have a look. There we are. Yes. We're back. We're live. We're not going anywhere. Here we are then. So let's get back to it. Waterborne diseases. So places like the Sahel have waterborne diseases. You get this from drinking contaminated. You get it from drinking contaminated water. So polluted water supplies. Fun fact, not very fun, but it's a fact. 110,000 cases of cholera, which is a waterborne disease, per year in the Sahel, obviously in that particular region. So absolutely shocking numbers. 110,000 people getting cholera, which is a very deadly disease in this area. This will actually decrease life expectancy in the area. It will also decrease infant mortality. So increase infant mortality. There'll be more children, because it tends to be children that suffer the most in terms of these sort of places. Increased infant mortality. So decreased life expectancies and also increased infant mortality. Thank you guys anyway for staying on the stream and waiting. I honestly got such a great audience that follow this channel. Sorry about the interruptions in the stream. Yeah, if you did get to that bit, just fast forward it on the stream when you're playing it back. Right. There's 38% of people that die. 38% of death rate. Yeah, 38% death rate linked to cholera. So not everybody dies of cholera, but it is a deadly disease. Mali, which is in the Sahel region, a country that suffers the most with malaria, with cholera, is Mali. Okay, so 38% of people die in cholera-related illnesses in the Sahel region. Mali has the highest rates of illness. Okay, last impact is, my little female sign there, is gender inequality. So for our girls, GCSE geographers and girls, your fellow girls around the world suffer more than the boys. So this issue affects the women and the girls more than the boys. So here we've got girls and women miss out on education and work to collect water. So traditionally in these poorer areas like the Sahel, it's tradition for the girls to go and collect the water with mum, or mum to go and collect the water, and that means that they miss out on work, they miss out on meeting up with their friends, they miss out on going to school, and that has a massive impact on their lives. So yeah, gender inequality in the Sahel region. So there's our case study. A bit disrupted there by the battery on the laptop, but hey, it's better when it's not perfect, isn't it? Nothing's ever perfect. So there you go. If water impacts of water insecurity comes up, you can talk about the Sahel region. Right. Another thing that we need to know about is large-scale water management projects. So remember I said at the start of this video, you need to know large-scale and small-scale sustainable. So large-scale water management Large-scale management of water. Look for that in the question, guys, when it says large-scale water management. There are 3 main ways in which you can manage water in terms of large-scale water management. Hit us up in the chat, guys. Do you know the 3 large-scale water management strategies that you can talk about? Let's have a little look, see who knows these. So number 1, he came back after a few Jaffa cakes. I wish I actually like Jaffa cakes, yeah. I wish. I'm ready for my tea, though. You can probably tell, actually. I don't know if it's the hay fever or I need some food. I need some dinner. My brain is wearing away. Number 1 is, water transfer. So water transfer. So take water from an area of the country which is a surplus, has lots of water, and put it in pipes and canals and take it to an area where there's water shortage or deficit. Yeah. So water transfer absolutely is one. Number 2 of our large-scale water management projects. Large scale means that they are big in scale. They have huge, usually impact on water supplies, and they are often government-led. So number 2, which has been on the exam 2 years ago, was desalination. Desalination, which I think I've seen in the chat here. Bruno, well done. Top geography. Desalination, which is when you remove salt from seawater. So you can use seawater once you've removed the salt from it. Countries like the UAE use a lot of desalination. UAE is a good example. You use a process like reverse osmosis to separate the salt from the water. Once the salt's removed from the water, you can then drink it. And they do that a lot, say, in cities like Dubai, where there is water insecurity, because it's a desert, isn't it? Yeah, so they desalinate seawater. Very costly, uses huge amounts of energy, and the salt that's left over is often put back in the sea and creates a massive salinity spike, which means that any animals in that area of the sea where the salt goes back in can be killed by hypersalinity, high levels of salinity. And the last one is dams and reservoirs are classed as large-scale water management. China is the world leading country for dams and reservoir building. They build lots of them. They've got over 1,000 dams and reservoirs, and they are very, very effective at water management. So we're going to talk about dams and reservoirs because I think they might ask you a question about like the advantages of dams and reservoirs, potentially. The one that we can look at is for a reservoir, which is a man-made lake to store drinking water. Here is our reservoir. Is Foremark Reservoir. Foremark Reservoir is up in East Staffordshire, up near Burton upon Trent. If you're watching from my school, you'll know it, I'm sure. So a reservoir is a man-made lake to store drinking water. There we go. There's our man-made lake. And Foremark Reservoir is very famous for the area where we live. To make a reservoir, you have to build a dam, which is a wall. So a dam is an artificial wall, man-made basically. It's an artificial wall to control river discharge or flow of the river. So the wall controls the flow of the river. It determines how much water comes over the dam. So dams and reservoirs are found together. As I say, China is the world leaders in building dams, not only in China, but across the world. Right, let's have a little look at the advantages and disadvantages of dams. So we're going to go for 3, guys. Hit us up in the chat. Do you know an advantage or a disadvantage of building dams and reservoir systems? So we're going to have advantages. We're going to have 3 advantages and 3 disadvantages of dams and reservoirs. So often with these water management strategies, you need to know the advantages and disadvantages of the system. The most famous dam and reservoir system is, let me try and put it here actually, the Three Gorges Dam, China. Where can I put that? Because I need to use that side there. Three Gorges Dam in China. So if you need an example of a really famous dam and reservoir system, Three Gorges Dam in China. There you go. I've squeezed it on. Right, advantages of dams. What have we got in the chat? I've got 3 here. Let's have a look. Three Gorges Dam. Well done, Amina. Yes. Oh my God, you're well ahead. Noisy. It's noisy. Dams can be very noisy, yeah, with that water flowing over them. Hydroelectric power. Yes, that's on my list. The cost is, that's obviously a disadvantage. Yeah, hydroelectric power decreases flooding, stores water. Yeah, so I've got number 1 is produces hydroelectric power. HEP, hydroelectric power. Well done. Which is green, sustainable, renewable, all that good stuff that we want. Sustainable, renewable, 0 emissions. It's hydroelectric power. And that's why the Chinese build dams mainly. Also, the Three Gorges Dam is a hydroelectric dam as well. So you've got that there. Number 2 we can have is increases water supply for people. So it brings an area to store water, and it also reduces flood risk in the area. Wow. So we're getting renewable electricity, we're getting more water for the area, we're getting reduced flood risk. I think Sir likes dams. They are a fantastic large-scale engineering water management project. The 3rd one, which no one got, is tourism and recreation. So the Hoover Dam, which is just outside Las Vegas in the US, loads of people, when they go there, visit the Hoover Dam, spend money in the local area. It creates jobs. Yeah, great for tourism. And you can sail on them. So things, even though it's drinking water, you can have little sailing boats on there, go canoeing on the dam. So on the reservoir, not on the dam. Don't canoe on the dam. That's way too dangerous. Canoe on the reservoir. So sailing, canoeing, fishing, all in the reservoir water. Walking around it. I'm sure some people that's watching this has probably been to Carsington Reservoir in Derbyshire. You can cycle all the way around. It's beautiful. There's a picnic site. There's ice creams and all that sort of good stuff. And that's all based around the reservoir. Disadvantages then. We've got cost. Yeah, irrigation. That is a good one. Yeah, irrigation would be a good one. You can use it for... The water could be used to irrigate the crops. Right, disadvantages are, number 1, obviously the cost is high. I'm trying to avoid cost. Let's go for 3 less obvious ones. So dams can block
the natural flow of sediment and fish. So actually, if I redraw my dam, they can silt up. This is all the sediment that builds up next to the dam. Yeah. So they tend to get blocked by all the sediment here. They build up because all the river washes the sediment down and it gets blocked by the dam. And also the fish get blocked by the dam as well. So it prevents the natural movement of sediment and fish up and down the river, which is not good. It can lead to habitat loss. Yeah. So the land behind it that floods, basically gets flooded by water, can lead to habitat loss. Habitat loss. And some people think that they are visual pollution. Big concrete wall doesn't look very nice. It's a visual pollution. And then number 3, let's go for high cost. Yeah, high cost. You could also have things like impact of noise pollution during the construction of the dam. When they build in it, it's going to create a lot of noise pollution. All that sort of, yeah. Greenhouse gases as well, because there's a lot of concrete. The dams are made of concrete. When you produce concrete, it releases a lot of greenhouse gas emissions as well. So that is there. Right, on to the final section. Oh, let me have a drink. Check the chat. Displacement of people, well done. If people live where the dam is, it will displace them, yeah. Yeah, well done. Insurance prices will go down because of the lower flood risk. Well done. Disrupt the ecosystem. Yes, great answers. You guys are going to do really well in this paper too. I can tell with the chat, the comments are really good. Right. We've got time now to do 2 case studies very quickly, and then we'll have everything we'll need pretty much for this section. So I'm just going to cut this section off down here to our 3rd section. Here we go. There we go. So it's all sectioned off again. Look at that. Wow. I am very, very happy with this so far. Okay, over here then, guys, let's drop in. We're going to do our case study for large-scale water management. Now, dare I say this? This was the one that was on last year. So if you like China's large-scale water management project, so this is large-scale. I can't spell large anymore. I need my dinner. Large-scale water management. Large-scale water management. So if it says about, in the question, large-scale water management, you're going to do China's north to south water transfer. This is largely an unsustainable project because it had lots of impact on social sustainability, the people, negatively impact the people, and environmental impacts were high as well. But it did do what it's supposed to do. So our case study, as I say, is China. So let's get a quick Chinese flag up there. So look for the question, guys. If it says large-scale water management, you must talk about China's south to north water transfer project. So here we go. China. Moving the water from the south to the north. So the south is where the Himalayas are, and the river Yangtze. From south to north water transfer project. South to north water transfer project. Also in short known as SNWTP. So once you've written it once, you only have to write it once, then you don't have to write it again. Okay, let's get some facts about this project. As I said, this one came up last year in 2024. And the geographers loved it because we predicted it last year. So therefore, we're not predicting it this year. So I'm not going to do too much on this. But what they did was they diverted water from the River Yangtze, which is, I think it's the third largest river in the world, the River Yangtze. And the River Yangtze in the south, where there was a surplus area, to Beijing, which I'm sure you know is the capital of China. Population again around about 20 million or so, maybe slightly higher actually. Beijing, water surplus area to Beijing in the north, which is a water deficit area. Water deficit, a lack of water. So it went from the Yangtze in the south, which is water running off the Himalayas. So the Yangtze is fed by the Himalayas, the glaciers of the Himalayas. So water surplus in the south, and then it went to the north where there's a water deficit. As suggested improvement, they could install solar panels over the canals to... Yes. Wow. Have they actually done that, though? That would be a great idea, because obviously the water is in canals, and as it goes in the canal, it evaporates. So not all the water actually makes it from the south to the north due to evaporation, but covering it up would reduce evaporation a little bit. Would be a great idea, wouldn't it? And you'd get solar energy. Have they done that, though? I don't think they have. This is an example of hard engineering, water management. So it's an example of hard engineering using man-made concrete structures such as canals. There are 3 networks of canals they've built. They've got the Eastern Network, Central and Western canals. So you've got 3 networks of canals and pipes, obviously, to take the water from the canals to people's homes. It is an example of a long-term solution. So it's going to last a long time, a few hundred years. This will provide water for the deficit area of the north, near the Gobi Desert. So it's a long-term solution, and also it's an example of a top-down government-led. The Chinese government had the idea, they funded it, and they've pushed the plan through. Government-led project, water management project. Funded by central government. It's central government's idea, and they have delivered the project. So it's top-down, government-led, hard engineering, unsustainable water management transfer project. Has anybody got the length of the canal? If someone can Google, I haven't got this, the length of the canals, that would be really good. How far is the water transferred? I'd be interested to have that fact just here. Okay, again, with this sort of question, if it's 6 marks, you need to know the strengths of the project and the weaknesses. Hit us up in the chat, guys. What was the strengths and weaknesses of China's south to north water transfer project? Who knows any positives and negatives of the project? What can you remember from this case study? So, strengths of the China's project, south to north water transfer project, and weaknesses. Again, this could be an evaluative question. What do you think is the main strength? What do you think is the main weakness? Oh, yes, got some lengths here. There are some, but not as many. So yeah, not as scaled. They need to scale it up. That's a great idea, though, isn't it? Total length of the canals is 2,900 kilometers. So we've got 2,900 kilometers of pipe and canal systems. There we go. Good little fact to put in. So it's the largest water transfer project in the world. Yeah, it's the biggest example of water transfer that there's ever been so far. So, took water to the farms, yeah, in the north near Beijing. I wonder which one is correct. Yeah, I don't know if maybe total length is more than one. It tackles inequality in the north and south. It does. Yeah, it creates wealth in the north and less water stress and poverty in the north. Supports economic growth in Beijing. I've got that one. That's a brilliant one. Increases water security. Amazing. QI said it's 2,700. Yeah. This is a problem with facts. They don't exist. Everyone's got different facts. I reckon if you've got 2,000 kilometers of pipes and canals, you've got a good one, haven't you? Yeah, it creates jobs in construction. I haven't got that one actually. I might add that one in. Right, the first one is increased water security. It does what it's supposed to do. It takes water to the people who need it. Increased water supplies for 100 million people. So there's 100 million people in the north of China now getting water that they didn't have for their industries and for their agriculture. Who was it? So maybe I can put reduced inequalities, which is good. I'm going to nick that bit from yours, Amina. Yeah, it's reduced inequalities. It's created equality, fairness. There's more even distribution of water. So that would be good. Then, obviously, if people have got water, including farms, increased industrial. So factories have water in the north in Beijing. Increased industrial and agricultural farms productivity. So the farmers have got the water, they can grow more crops. Factories have got water so they can produce more products or use it for cooling. Increased productivity, which then would increase the GNI. It would increase the wealth of the area and the country. So increased GNI, increased gross national income, increased productivity on farms and in factories. I'm going to put jobs. Yeah, because people have to work on it, they have to manage it, they have to build it. So thank you, James. We're going to add that job creation. It'd be good to have a fact on that. How many jobs are created by the building and management of the SNWTP? Can anybody find that out as well? Let us know how many people employed. And another little fact here on the strengths of this project, even though it was on in 2024, it provides 40 billion litres of water per year to the north. To the north, to the N. To the north. Just trying to make it short because I need to get sand dams in. And sand dams, I think you're going to need in 2025. I'm sure they're going to ask you about sustainable water management. Any ideas about job creation? I've left a little gap there. Maybe multiplier effect. We can put the word multiplier effect. Creates jobs and people have got money in the area. People spend it in the area. So what's the economic benefit of the dams? The South to North water transfer project. Right, let's do some negatives. I need my dinner here. The negatives are the cost. So it had high cost. $60 billion it cost to build this South to North water transfer project. That's an impact. It flooded a lot of land. A lot of land had to be used for the canals. 600,000 people have benefited through jobs. That's good, isn't it? 600,000 people. Yeah, 600,000 people have jobs linked to the development of the project. Wow, amazing. That is amazing. Thank you very much to our mod. Appreciate that. Right, flooded farmland is one of the negatives. Flooded farmland, around, it's estimated that 350,000 people are displaced by the canals, by the pipes, displaced or forced to leave the area, farmland, because of that impact. Negative, the main benefit, it only really benefited Beijing. It didn't benefit all northern areas. So only benefited Beijing. What about the rural areas in the north that didn't actually get improved water security? And last but not least, we've got habitat loss. Habitat / species loss. In particular, we've got, e.g., the Yangtze river dolphin. It lived in the river Yangtze. I can't fit dolphin in here. Let's put it above it. There you go. Yangtze river dolphin. So the Yangtze river dolphin lives in the river Yangtze. Because the water levels dropped, because they're taking water from the Yangtze north, the water levels dropped, and then the number of species of river dolphin also declined, which was a massive impact on that local ecosystem. QI said there's 705,000 jobs created by China's south to north water transfer project. So yeah, it could be. Anyway, it's a lot of jobs, isn't it? It's a lot of jobs. Right, last but not least, I think, because that was on last year, that one, even though that was a nice case study, I know a lot of geographers loved having that on the exam last year. Again, it was a 6-marker, so you had to write about the kind of pros and cons and evaluate it. I think you're more likely to get this one this year, which is case study, small-scale water management project. So here we go. Case study alert. I think you need to know a lot about sand dams. So yeah, make sure you swat up on this bit. Case study. This is small scale. So if the question says small scale water management, you must talk about sand dams. If the question says sustainable water management, you can talk about sand dams. You can also talk about some of these things down here as well. That's all sustainable water management. These things here, grey water and rainwater harvesting. But sand dams are the one. So small scale, sustainable water management. Let me just, what's this here? China, the Tibetan Plateau, an area of canals. Yeah, earthquake proof. Yeah, it is, yeah. Well done. Your revision is going really well there, Bruno. Well done. So small scale water management strategies is sand dams. So let's go for it here. The country with the most, or one of the most amounts of sand dams, it probably is the most, is Kenya. So sand dams, Kenya. That's our little map pin. And that is in, Kenya is an LIC in East Africa. It also has water stress, water insecurity, and it builds a lot of sand dams. So what do we know about sand dams in Kenya? Let's get through these little facts. So Kenya build 150 sand dams per year. So they build 150 sand dams per year. They're often built, they're built by NGOs, non-governmental organizations or charities. So it tends to be NGOs that built them, such as WaterAid. So if you've given your money to WaterAid, or donated money to that charity, they will go to areas of Kenya and build a sand dam for the local community. So they're often built by NGOs or charities like WaterAid. The beauty of sand dams is they are an example of a bottom-up project, which basically means they are led by the local community. So it's the local community that helped to build the sand dam with the help of WaterAid or Oxfam, yeah. And often it's the women in the village that will build the sand dam. So this empowers women, because the women know that once it's built, they will be able to use it to collect water, and they won't have to walk miles to get water. So they might be able to go to work or spend more time with their friends in the community. So it empowers women. It's a bottom-up project. They build it. Local people are involved. They're asked about what they want in the consultation period. It is fantastic. I absolutely love sand dams. They're just fantastic. There's no negatives, as far as I can tell, really, with sand dams. There's your challenge. In the chat, tell me a problem with sand dams. Maybe this is a problem. You can only build them in areas where there is a seasonal river. So they're built across a seasonal river that flows at certain times of the year. And like Bruno said, they're an example of low-tech, affordable, appropriate technology. They can be easily repaired by the local people. They're affordable, they're cost-effective, and they are appropriate. They're the right thing for those people to be building to provide water. So let's go for the positives of sand dams. There's lots of positives. I've already mentioned a few there above. Positives of sand dams. Here we go. They provide local communities with water, provide water for irrigating crops. So the water in the sand dam can be collected to irrigate crops and improve food supply as well, which is good. I don't know why it's so shiny, that. So positive is provide water to irrigate crops. Let's go for another positive. The sand on the sand dam, the actual sand is on the surface. So the sand prevents evaporation or loss of water. The sand protects the water from the sun, prevents evaporation, and it also prevents mosquitoes landing on the water and spreading waterborne diseases. And the spread of waterborne diseases. It's just fantastic. So you're less likely to get things like malaria from the mosquitoes, and the sand on the surface prevents that evaporation loss. More positives come in. Promote wildlife habitats, because there's more water in the area. Where there's water, there's life. Insects, birds, mammals. Creates a kind of habitat space. You can see where sand dams are built, the whole valley goes green with new plants and new life, because that water is kept in that area. They are affordable to develop. We've already said that they're an appropriate, sustainable method. They're affordable. They on average cost around about 10,000 per sand dam. So they're very low cost. I know 10,000 sounds like a lot, but it is literally the cheapest method of water management. Compare 60 billion to £10,000. That's the price of a family car, isn't it? And that will provide a whole village with sustainable, reliable, clean, safe drinking water. They're absolutely fantastic. Before I leave, I'm going to show you a picture of a sand dam. Okay, so sand dams, any negatives? Yeah, limitations are seasonal. Well done, yeah. So the seasonal river, that could be a positive as well. So maybe I can put limited locations. If you haven't got a river, you can't use a sand dam. So that could be the only negative that I can think of. Any other problems with sand dams? Let's have a look at the chat. You're limited by location, maybe, yeah. Potential erosion of the dam, yeah. Yeah, you need to maintain the dam. Yeah, low cost and sustainable. Right, the last thing that's kind of linked to water aid, so, and the WHO. So we've got the World Health Organization. So just trying to squeeze this in. So the UN, World Health Organization. Work in places like Kenya. So the WHO. And they've got something called the WASH Project. Okay. It's called the WASH Project. So the W, I'm just going to squeeze it in here, guys. There's my W of WASH. So W stands for water. So it stands for water, sanitation. So that a water and sanitation, which is to make sure that people have got clean water to flush their toilets. Water and it's called the WASH Project, sanitation. And then hygiene, telling people to wash their hands using clean water, wash themselves to stay clean. So again, Water Aid promotes the WASH Project to prevent illness, disease, and safe use of water. So the WASH Project stands for Water and Sanitation and Hygiene. This is a project that's been rolled out by Water Aid. It's backed by the World Health Organization to keep people safe and healthy in areas where there's water stress and water insecurity. There we go. So let me just find a sand dam to find a picture of it. Sand dam in Kenya. And we'll finish off there. Sand dams in Kenya. So let me just, yeah. So that's our, wow, look at that, guys. That pretty much covers everything there. There's lots on there, isn't there? That covers everything for water management. Section 5 of the exam. There we go. That completes our series for paper 2, which is obviously on the 6th of June. Let me just get rid of that one and then add a present, screen share, sand dams share. Here we go, guys. This is what sand dams look like. So there you go. You've got you build your wall across the river, the seasonal river. And then sand builds up. Oh, look at these people here, look. Sand builds up on the surface, stops evaporation. This is the community building the sand dam with the help of the charity. That's them pouring the concrete in. There's the sand dam there, look. So you can see the sand on the top. The water is underneath, so it prevents evaporation. And they are fantastic. Kenya, everywhere in Kenya. They're building 150 every single year to help with water security in that particular region. Right, guys, I think we're going to leave it there. I am absolutely exhausted, but that revision looks amazing. I'm well impressed. So join us next Monday to do our live stream on paper 3. And if you want to drop in on Thursday, this Thursday evening, 6 p.m, it's going to be a Q&A session. Anything you want to ask about paper 2, you can. Check out all the videos on paper 2, predicted content. They're all on the channel. Use them to help you revise. You've got 4 days now, 3 days technically, because Friday you're doing your exam. 3 days to get yourself ready for paper 2. Thank you to everybody who's joined us. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Oh, you're so kind. Thank you so much, Amina. Thank you. Thank you. Have a lovely day. Thank you. Thank you. Take care, guys. It's great to see you. All the best. Bye-bye.